Hello, hello, I'm Kats, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. So today's topic is going to be the latest iteration of the summon pool, specifically the anniversary summon pool, which we can't even click on because there's so many events going on right now, but it is nonetheless active here. The anniversary summon pool, ooh, we've got a bunch of champions. Honestly, like too many champions, but we'll come back to that in a bit. But lots of legendaries up for grabs, a lot of good ones, a lot of mid-tier ones, and is there a bad one here? Maybe there's no bad ones, but yeah, a lot of good ones, a lot of mid-tier ones, and there's also a good selection of epics as well, which is somewhat engaging and interesting as well. But yeah, this is pretty standard as we've seen in the past. It's going to be costing you 40 fragments to summon. It is basically a sacred shard, so a 6% chance to get a legendary from any of these, 94% chance to get an epic. And I guess if I'm highlighting the good ones, Harim was good. Obviously, UDK, I wouldn't say he's like good, but he is annoying and he's very popular because he was free. Armon's obviously super powerful. Broken, dare I say. While Master Tharon is really good in Chimera as well as Hydra. I use him in both of those teams. Taltus is kind of fallen off, but he's still a decent for like dragon type stuff. Ancora, super underrated still in my opinion, but really solid support. Good protector for your nukers. Elva Autumnborn, always good. Hydra, and just an all-around carry support, to be honest with you. Good in Arena as well, and really S tier in Chimera. Nekmothar used to be one of the Hydra gods, kind of fell off a little bit. I still use him in Hydra personally, but he's also really good in Chimera. And then Duchess, kind of, universal, good in Arena, good in some PvE instances. And then Newt, of course, Newt, the strongest, arguably the strongest single target enemy max HP champion in the entire game, one of the best boss killing champions overall. And then yeah, everything else is kind of meh in comparison. In terms of the epics, decent amounts of good ones. Geomancer, of course, everyone loves Geomancer. Doom Priest is always good with their passive. Husk is good for Hydra, good Provoker, entry level stuff. Venomage, good for Ammius. Ugo, probably one of the best epics in the game. Decreased defense, block buffs, universal and or useful in a lot of different areas. Allure, the best single target turn meter suppression champion. Taragi, good for the early mid game. Demon Lord clan boss, nested ally protection type teams. Deacon Armstrong, pretty good like early mid game arena support, speed booster type thing. Magnar, one of the best epic HP based nuker. Fanax, one of my favorite epic nukers with his super hard hitting A1, which can block revive. Farrakhan the Fat, probably the best epic ally attack champion. And then Vogoth, a pretty decent support, good as a tank for your team. But on top of that, you do also have a decent selection of Lady Mikage epics. The ones that come to mind here, I think, yeah, End of Moonbeam is one, Delaja is one, Aelfrig is one, Ashma is one, Firegun Isbel, and Dahlia, and Elisenia, and then what's her name? Lady Quillen. Yeah, so lots of Lady Mikage epics up for grabs as well. So if you get yourself the free summon, which we'll talk about in a bit, then you could, and you're missing one of these epics for Lady Mikage, this could be your ticket there. And I guess, Tagore, honorable mention there. I think he's kind of overrated personally, but I think is a decent support unit. But yeah, in this case, the source of them, at least the source of the free one, which was surprisingly or like weirdly, oddly, not in the calendar like until like it came live in the game, so I didn't even know if they were going to offer a free one. I figured they would, but there wasn't anything that told us in the calendar. But it is Sand Devil turn attack once again. This is the single source. You get the 40 here, 6,300, pretty standard value over the course of the next 3 days. So if you want to focus on that, then you can get yourself one free summon. But yeah, my main issue with this one in particular as well, there are a lot of good champions up for grabs, and that is kind of, overstated at this point. But the problem with these summon pools is that the more champions there are, the less likely you are to get the one that you actually want. And that's just how odds work, right? You 6% chance you get a legendary, and then you have to divide that chance across almost 15 legendary champions. So it's the 6% chance times 1 in 15 just to get the one that you might want. In my case, the one that I would want the most would be Elva Autumnborn. You guys have known this for the past few months. I've mentioned her many times. One of the ones near the top of my legendary wish list, non-void. But yeah, again, the odds are very low to one, get a legendary in the first place, and two, get the one that you would want. But if you are missing a lot of them, say you're missing half the pool, 80% of the pool, then it's like, hey man, if you just happen to get a legendary and you happen to get one of the ones that you would want, then it could be a good deal. I just happen to not be in that situation. The two that really come to my mind in this case that I don't, or I guess three that I don't have would be Elva, would be Duchess, and then Ragash. But everyone else I pretty much, not everyone else I don't have, but most of the other ones that are good I happen to have already. So I personally don't need to go for this particular summon pool, as you might have guessed, based on the way that I'm talking. And then the epics, I have all of them. I have Lady Mikage as well, so I don't really need any of these. But of course, epic empowerment could be useful, but again, it's not that high of a priority. I think the main problem, of course, here, there's the elephant in the room, is that we are in the midst of the Fabian fusion. So that's where the bulk, if not, no, the entirety of my energy is going towards, all of the events to complete this fusion. I think he's a much better champion than, a lot of the ones in that pool, at least in the terms of, endgame PvP. So there's that. And if you care about my progress, you can see here we got a bunch of the rares ready to go. And I should have like 3 epics ready to fuse by the time the champion chase comes around this weekend. But yeah, if you're curious about my fusion progress, but this is my primary focus. I'm focusing on Spider right now, as well as champion training. I already have the rare from the champion training tournament, but I like to max out a lot of these champion training events and tournaments because they just offer decent rewards. So that's where my energy is going to be focused. And so I just don't have the bandwidth to also do that and then focus on the Sand Devil. I could spend gems to do it, but it would cost me a lot of gems. We're talking, maybe 1,000 or something to try and get it done. We didn't get lucky with the clan shop, which might have swayed me towards participating in it. If there was the 1,000 energy up for grabs here, then that would be, in terms of what my team can do, that's around 2,000 points, so a third of the Sand Devil Turn Attack tournament. So that would make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe like on the last day after I do every other event, finish those, maybe I can blitz on the last day and kind of get that last 4,000 points. But as it stands, trying to do all 6,300 from scratch with just gems, because my energy is allocated elsewhere, it just doesn't feel that enticing. On top of the fact that we already discussed, even if I do happen to get a legendary, most of them are going to be dupes in my case, and the ones I really want are just a really, really small chance. And again, more likely than not, you're going to walk away with an epic. I happen to be probably one of the luckier people. I haven't participated in that many summon pools, but I have managed to get 2 legendaries from them. One was Erodos and one was Fina, Blade of Aravia. But as most of you may know, my going in stance is that I always assume that the average outcome is going to be the most likely outcome. And so I would expect to do a bunch of work, burn a bunch of gems, and then walk away with an epic, which does not seem that enticing. Of course, there's always a chance, right? It's super, super small, but I don't like trying to burn a bunch of energy per se, or supplies, just for a small chance of something happening, unless it's just something more likely. If there were 5 legendaries, 4 legendaries, maybe even 6 at most, maybe that would kind of swing me a bit more, but having 15 in the pool is kind of ridiculous. So I'm not that interested in this one, but that doesn't mean that I don't necessarily recommend that you guys do it. If you're for some reason skipping the Fabian fusion, don't recommend doing that. But if you are and you have nothing better to do, then of course run the Sand Devil for the next couple of days, get that done, get your free summon and shoot your shot. But if you want to burn gems, again, if you want to do that, I'm not discouraging you from doing so. If you really cared, if you're missing a lot of these champions, you missed their fusions, you missed or you just don't have them, then it could be a good investment if you happen to get lucky. But for me, like I said, not really that interested in this one in particular. But those are just my thoughts on the anniversary summon pool. Let me know in the comment section down below, are you going for the free summon and shooting your shot towards getting one of these pretty solid, I mean, a lot of them are A tier, S tier champions. So again, there's pretty good pickings. There's just a lot of them, which reduces the likelihood that you get whichever one you might be looking for. But I am repeating myself. So yeah, let me know what your plan is for the anniversary summon pool in the comment section down below. And if you are going for it, then I wish you good fortune with your summon or multiple summons in case you happen to be buying them. As always, if you did find this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help out the channel, and feel free to hit that subscribe button down below if you're enjoying the content overall on this channel. Thanks for watching and have a good one.